See, we think that nobody's going to contact us. Notifications, if you could just silence your phones. Silence your phones at home so that you can really be in the peace and the mindfulness and the blessing of this time together. Welcome, everyone. This is our Wednesday night meditation Sangha. And the way that we begin our Sanghas is with a time of transition from the busyness and the travel of the day. And we do this with a beautiful gong bath. Dr. Mary Fair is going to provide for us. So you're welcome to lay on the carpet if you'd like and point your feet towards the gong or anywhere on the floor. Just sit where you are, relax, and just take in the beautiful vibration of the gong. Thank you, Mary. And now we're prepared to move into our sitting practice for this evening. Every time we come together, we grow in our practice and our ability to bring mindfulness and presence to our lives. And so when I ring the bell, we'll sit for 25 minutes, and there'll be some light guidance for your practice tonight. As you listen to the bowl, allow the sound of the bowl to bring you inward and bring you into presence. Find a balanced seated posture for your practice this evening, where your arms and legs are uncrossed. It can be helpful to sit a bit forward on your seat so you can feel your feet grounded, feel the connection of the soles of your feet to the earth beneath us, grounding our energy and connecting us with all life on this planet. Adjusting your spine so that your spine is straight, strong, relaxing the belly, taking your seat with dignity and grace. Just allow yourself to relax into your practice tonight. Relax into a simple sense of presence. Being present to the state of your body, the state of your mind. Just bring a kind attention to it. And now fill your body with a half smile of kindness. Take 2 deep, relaxing breaths to sense the breath more fully in the body. Now bring your attention to the natural rhythm of the breath. Notice wherever you sense the breath most easily. Let yourself feel several breaths in a row. Allowing the breath to be in its natural rhythm. Noticing how each breath is unique. One breath may be more full or more shallow than the next. With each breath, let the mind calm and the body relax. If it's helpful for you, softly use the words in your mind, calm and ease with each breath. Breathing in calm, exhaling ease. Continue to notice the changing rhythms of the breath. If your breath becomes soft, let your attention become soft and careful. If you notice tension in your breathing, let yourself relax. The point is not to control your breath, but to observe your natural breath. If you feel you're controlling your breath, just let go and feel the sense of contact with the seat beneath you. You're not trying to become good at breathing. You're simply bringing attention to the breath as it is. Connecting with this present moment, steadying and focusing your attention. You can use counting as a way to remain alert and connected to each breath. Count 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. Just letting the numbers be a whisper in your mind with 95% of your attention sensing the breath and 5% tracking the numbers. Sometimes you might only get to 2 numbers before you lose focus. Just stay patient and kind with yourself. The practice is of returning again and again to what builds mindfulness. If you find you're losing alertness, count backwards from 10. If you find your body becoming stiff, see if you can breathe into those areas and relax into the practice. Checking in with your seated posture, and if you find that you've slouched down or hunched over as you've been sitting, you may choose to rotate the shoulders back to open up some space around the heart. And this should help free up the breath. Noticing the beginning, the middle, and the end of the breath. Explore where you're noticing the breath in your body, whether in the nostrils, the upper lip, your chest, your belly, or perhaps even your whole body. And if you feel disconnected from your breath, it could be helpful to put your hand on your belly and feel the rise and fall of the belly in your hand. Calm and ease, calm and ease. Relaxing into this moment, this breath. As we come into the final minutes of the practice, bring your attention even more fully into the breath, even more fully into your awareness of your body sitting and breathing. As I ring the bell, we'll close our sitting practice. Mindfulness continues. Thank you for bringing your kind attention to this space. I'm going to be speaking tonight on the role of ethics in our spiritual practice. So I invite you to listen with your whole body and just really be open to what you're hearing and what is resonating with you. And you're welcome to come join the circle if you'd like. Start with something a little funny. There was a honey bee hive, a local hive, that kept getting raided by humans. They were taking the honey out of the hive, and the queen bee was not happy about this. And so she finally came up with this ingenious solution to use hypnosis through song to recondition these people who are stealing the honey. And what did they sing? Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. So, even the bees are encouraging us to do no harm, which is an ethical practice. So we teach that it's not enough to know our spiritual principles, we've got to live them. It's not enough to know them at the intellectual level. Therefore, there is an important role of ethics and morality on our spiritual journey and in our practice. For many cultures, religion has served as the traditional means for providing a moral and an ethical compass for behavior. In our modern Western culture, people tend to somewhat conflate the two terms, spirituality and religion. To equate these terms with each other doesn't make sense because they're not the same. Ethical behavior is an essential part of our spiritual practice. The purpose of spiritual practice is to awaken to our true nature. A spiritual practice may transcend any particular religion or belief system. It doesn't necessarily depend on a particular religion or any religion at all for its foundation. Okay. Our ethical practice arises from within us. It's not imposed upon us from an outside source. We see ethical living, ethical practice as a natural consequence of living as an awakened being. In the awakened state, we realize that we are inherently connected with all life and with every being that exists. And ethical behavior is a natural consequence of this realization of being connected with all life and every being that exists. In spiritual practice, we live as if we're already awakened, and then when we live that way, what arises within us when we hold this truth is everything within us that doesn't believe this. We notice our resistance, and we see all resistance to our practice as error thinking, or as what's called in Buddhism a defilement of the mind that is born from ignorance, fear, and grasping. When these energies show up within us, so we're holding that we're already awakened, and these other things unlike being awakened show up, our spiritual practice is to meet them with compassion and with a clear, non-attached awareness. And this will eventually dissolve this error thinking, or what is called defilements. We approach practicing ethical behavior by creating an intention to follow a particular ethical guideline. We choose to do this for the purpose of spiritual awakening, not for the purpose of being good or escaping criticism, either internal or external. Through creating the intention of enlightened and ethical behavior, we then become aware of all the times when we haven't behaved this way, when we've behaved otherwise. And we consider each infraction as an opportunity to see parts of ourselves that are lost in fear or lost in ignorance. And our intention is to then respond to those parts of ourselves with wisdom and with compassion. Perhaps the most universal ethical guideline, which is found in virtually every religious tradition, is the so-called golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If we discover that we're behaving otherwise than this, then we use that opportunity to become acquainted with that lost part of ourselves that is driving that behavior, bringing as much wisdom and compassion as we can. Sometimes we may need external help in the form of a therapist or a teacher or a support group to address what is showing up. That is that lost part of ourselves that drives a behavior that is not in alignment with our ethical guideline. Another universal ethical guideline is to do no harm. This mandate is reflected in the physician's Hippocratic Oath. It's also reflected in the Buddhist ethical precepts. The Buddha's Eightfold Path includes the 5 precepts of right behavior, which is a further delineation of this mandate to do no harm. These precepts specify non-harming by not killing any living being, by not taking what is not given, by refraining from sexual misconduct, by avoiding the misuse of intoxicants, and by practicing right speech, which is defined as speech that is true and kind and necessary. And these precepts are subject to some interpretation, as is any spiritual teaching. You may ask yourself, am I violating the precepts if I use a pesticide in my garden, or if I eat meat, or if I take antibiotics? What if I'm a member of the armed services, or if I drive a gas-guzzling vehicle? So practicing these precepts in our modern world reveals that there are many gray areas that are subject to our own personal understanding of this practice for ourselves. But the point is not to get lost in searching for an absolute right meaning of an ethical precept, but rather to ask, how can I best use this precept to support my spiritual practice? Rather than getting lost in a debate around legalisms, it is far better to return to the intention of spiritual practice, which is to awaken spiritually and to help others awaken. You may find it helpful to use these precepts in the same way that you might use rumble strips out on the highway, on the edge, the rumble strips. It's a way to let you know when you're straying from your intended path. If you find yourself violating a precept or creating harm in any way, then you can take a deep breath. Look at that part of yourself that's suffering from ignorance or fear, and bring awareness and compassion to that place. If you discover that you're violating an ethical precept, it is very important that you not respond with self-guilt or self-criticism. It's not helpful. Rather, look honestly and compassionately at the energy in your own psyche that's calling for your attention. And then hold that part of yourself in the same way that a mother would hold a troubled child, with compassion, wisdom, and a gentle discipline as may be needed. Namaste. So before we move into our discussion of our topic tonight and the rest of our time together, Mary's going to share with us her offering practice and a few announcements.
Thank you, Jeanmarie. I always feel so inspired by these Dharma talks and nourished by meditating with all of you and being here with you. And if you feel nourished by this meditation Sangha also, if it's supporting your spiritual journey, your spiritual practice, we invite you to express your gratitude in the form of a love offering if you wish. So would you join me in reciting the offering blessing? Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. And so it is. Amen. For those of you in the room, Alex will be passing the offering bag around. You're also invited to make your offering in the form of a text to give or any way that works for you, electronically or otherwise. A few announcements, and the first one is really important. We are having a meditation retreat at Camp Allen, May 17th through 19th. There are a few spots left, but registration closes at 9 o'clock tonight. So if you're interested, get on your phone as soon as we finish here and get registered. It's going to be a wonderful weekend. Reverend Jeanmarie, Reverend Claudia Olmos, and I will be facilitating the retreat. And if you've not been to Camp Allen, it is a beautiful getaway. It's forested, it's hilly, it's just so serene. And even though it's called Camp Allen, it's not camping. You have a real room, you have air conditioning, it's a beautiful facility, wonderful food. So, and we have a lot of great meditative experiences planned for you all. So we'd love to have you join us. Be sure you register by 9 o'clock tonight. Also, next Sunday, Reverend Michael will give his second talk in the new series. The title is Pay Attention, the Gift of Awareness. That's at 11 o'clock in the sanctuary on Sunday. And next week here at our meditation saga, Reverend Jeanmarie's talk will be titled Spiritual Companionship. I feel like we're enjoying that with each other right here. So be sure and join us next week.
Thank you, Mary. It's definitely a great gift of having a Sangha and coming together every week. I was inspired, really captivated by this poem that I came across today. I want to share with you one of my favorite poets, Mary Oliver. And this is called The Journey. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles, "Mend my life," each voice cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind spried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible, it was already late enough and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. My question for us to discuss tonight, and we'll invite our live streamers to discuss it with whoever you may be with, or to journal about it for some time once we close our live stream, is this question. What is an ethical guideline that you use in your spiritual practice? So I named a few. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Do no harm. There are many others. So just think about an ethical guideline that supports you in your practice, and how does it support you in realizing your connection with all life? Does that make sense? What's an ethical practice you use? How does it support you in feeling your connection with all life? So we'll have the opportunity to share about that, but first I want to say goodnight to our live streamers. Thank you for joining us. Hope to see you here in the chapel when you can make it. Many blessings.